Hello and welcome to the Holy Sefer Zera Shimshon. This is Chaf Beis Tevis Tav Shin Pei, and this is Parshat Shemot, and it's Kapitel Tes. In other words, chapter 9. It's a little longer today. I wanted to make it shorter because my daughter got engaged. It's Hashem will be the Vart this afternoon, so it should be a zechus for them and all of their offspring. So this says the Midrash in Yalkut, Shmoni, Hine hasne boyer boesh omer hakadosh baruch Hu. The sneh, everybody knows the bush, whatever it was, what type of bush it doesn't say, but the sneh, the bush was burning with fire. Eineno ukal, but it wasn't consumed. Omer hakadosh baruch Hu alidei sina shesanu echav leYosef yordo leMitzrayim. Because of this hatred that the brothers of Yosef had, they went to Egypt. And because of him, in other words, because of Yosef, I am revealing to myself, to Moshe Rabbeinu in this burning bush, and I'm going to redeem them. Shenemar, it says, so it's a strange pasuk in Tehillim, in Zion, I'm going to redeem you with a strong arm. B'zreya amecho, your nation, the sons of Yaakov and Yosef. Ad kan l'shayin. That's the end of the Yalkut Shimoni. V'hu tomua. So the Zera Shimshon says, this is a wonder. What has it got to do with Yaakov? Ma'yin zelazeh. First of all, what is the pertinence to one that Yosef went to Egypt and he's burning? Now God appears to Moshe in a burning bush. What's the proof from the pasuk in Tehillim, Ayin Zion, that I'm going to take him out I'm taking your nation out with a strong arm? That they're going to be redeemed in the merit of Yosef. The pasuk says in the merits of the sons of Yaakov and Yosef. It wasn't only Yosef's merit. What's this got to do with the bush being burning like fire? The answer is, why did God reveal himself to Moshe in this bush and not someplace else? So the first thing the answer is that sneh, even though it's written with samach nun, it has the same pronunciation as sina, sin nun. Kashem shegalus Mitzrayim ba be'avin mechiras Yosef. Since the galus Mitzrayim happened because of the sin of Yosef, the sin of the selling of Yosef. And it's brought in the Zera Chadash also in Parshat Eicha. Lefisha hashvatim garmu la'avim his'abel chaf beis shanim. This is chaf beis, the day of Tevis, the 22nd of Tevis, and they have made their father mourn for their son 22 years. Mishum hachi nischayvu galus chaf beis shana l'kol echad mi'asar shvatim. So now it came, if you add it up, or multiply, actually, 22 years for each one of the 10 brothers that put Yosef into Galus, so it adds up to 220. Okay? The Reish Chaf Shana, that's 220. Now everybody knows that they were only a Galus 210 years, right? So where's the extra 10? Since the tribes, all the sons, the brothers, the sons of Yosef, the sons of Yaakov died in Chutz Lords, Kol hasara nismaitu asara shani v'loy nishtau begalus ki'im reish daled vav shana. So it was diminished 1 year, or whatever, 10 years from all of them. So they only were in Galus in Mitzrayim for 210 years. Umishum hachi nigla b'sneh. That's why it was revealed to him, to Moshe Rabbeinu in the sneh, in the bush, because it was because of the hatred that the sons of Yaakov had for Yosef. At this point, the 210 years was finished. And it was fitting to be redeemed. Maybe that wasn't the only reason. Maybe there was a different reason for Gullus. Like it says in the Lev Aryeh, is in Parshat Shmos, B'Shem Gali Razia, who wrote in the name of the Lev Aryeh writes in the name of the Gali Razia. Shebishvil Shehevi Yaakov Avinu Lashon Targum b'Torah, because Yaakov brought the words of a Targum, which is Aramaic, in the Torah. Vayikra Lavan Yagar Sadusa. And Lavan called this stone that they set up as an identification for the treaty, he called it the Yagar Sadusa, which is Aramaic. And Yaakov called it Gal Eid. And Yaakov called it Gal Eid. V'Yaakov Goram Zera She'omer le'achiv Laktu Avanim. He said to his brothers, which means his sons, right? Laktu Avanim V'yikchu Avanim V'yasu Gal. Gather together these rocks, and he'll call it the Gal. Gal is a pile. Because of that, they came to Galus Mitzrayim. They came to be put in Egypt for a long time. It says, Oh, Megillah. So they said they lifted up their eyes and they saw, the brothers, that there was a caravan of Yishmaelim coming from Gilad. Oh, same lashon. V'hainu Gal Eid Shekora Yaakov Lama Shekora Lavan Yagar Sadusa. So it's the same name that Lavan called it an Aramaic term. Yaakov called it Gal Eid. Zo Arami Ovid Avi. That's why it says Arami. It was Lavan. He caused my father to be destroyed. Or lost, literally. Arami Dafka. Why is it Dafka Arami Ovid Avi? Why don't you say Lavan? Say Arami. Why is that Lashon Arami? It means it's the Lashon of Aramaic, the Aramaic language. V'yorad Mitzrayim anus al pi adibur. And they had to go down to Egypt because we're forced by the words. It's very didactic. The Hainu hadibur shel Arami shehevi b'Torah. What? He was punished for using Aramaic in the Torah. Why? Because you're not allowed to say these. Aramaic is specifically designated for the chitzainim, the other side of the all the forces of the Yetzer Hara. The Zel Darmin in the Gemara in Shabbos says in Daf Yud Beis on base, She'ein Malachei Ashoris Me'akirim b'Lashon Arami. The Malachei Ashoris, the angels, don't recognize Arami. What do you mean they don't recognize it? They can't speak it because they don't want to speak it. I mean, not that they don't want, but they're forbidden to use this terminology in the Shamayim. V'im kein lefi tam zeh hadra kushya leduchta. So according to this reasoning, the difficulty goes back to the place. Lama nigla hakadosh baruch hu b'sneh. Why did God appear to Moshe Rabbeinu in the sneh? Mishum hachi siyam hamidrash b'shviloi ani nigla b'sneh. And because of him, I'm revealing myself in the burning bush. Claimer. Af im timer tam acher. But even if you said there's a different reason why they went to Egypt, im kol zeh yuvan tam lama nigla b'sneh. Why is I revealing myself in the sneh? Lefisha b'schus Yosef nigalu she Yosef loy ratza ledaber b'mi'aylam milashon mitzvi. It's in the merits of Yosef that you're going to come out, be redeemed, because he never wanted to speak the Egyptian. Not that he didn't know it. Hold on. She'eshes Potiphar Amra. Eshes Potiphar said to him, Hevi lanu ish ivri. She said, or not to him, but she said, you brought us an ivri. You brought us a man that was an ivri. Sar Hamashkim Amr. The Sar Hamashkim said, V'sham Sam itonu nar ivri. You put with us in this prison a young man who was an ivri. She'afilu l'shaynenu ena makir, because he doesn't even recognize what language we speak. Gavriel came and taught him 70 languages, so that he was able to speak in front of Pari. But except for that time, he didn't speak Egyptian. Or since he was in the court of the king, he was allowed to do certain things that you're not allowed to do otherwise. So he didn't speak Egyptian there, except for in the court of Paro. That's when Yosef said to his brothers, Ani Yosef. Claimer, Yosef Dafka, I'm specifically Yosef, nobody else. But see, it says, Einechem royais. He says, your eyes can see. Ki pi hamidaber aleichem belashon hakodesh. Because I'm speaking lashon hakodesh. Which lashon hakodesh? Ivrit, right? Ivris. And therefore I'm speaking, I've told my father, go tell my father all of my honor. And go and quickly bring your father back, our father back down here. Claimer, don't be aggravated by the galus that you caused. Shehevi lashon arami b'Torah, or that he caused. I'm sorry, that Yaakov caused. That he brought a lashon Aramaic into Torah. That the chas v'shalom couldn't be a redemption for the Jewish people. He says, I fixed that mistake. He says, I didn't change my tongue. I didn't speak Egyptian. Even though I was amongst the Egyptians, even though I was the king over them, I didn't want to speak their language. And that's what he means, for his sake. In other words, for Yosef's sake, I revealed myself in this burning bush, the snare. And I revealed them, redeemed them. Shenemar, it says, that's why it says both Yaakov and Yosef's name. Claimer, because they were the sons of Yaakov, they were obligated to have galus. But Yosef tikin, and Yosef fixed that. It was suchusoi nigalu, and in his merit, in Yosef's merit, they got redeemed. Bezel b'nei Yaakov v'Yosef sela. Okay, Moshe Pirish Rashi b'Shem Geshem sheroisa asnei oisa shlichusi, just like the burning bush has done my service, I commanded it to do something, and it did it. Ve'nenu ukal, and it's not being consumed. Kach telech b'shlichusi. So he said to Moshe, you also have to go and do my judgment, and do my shlichus, be my messenger to redeem the Jewish people. And you will not be damaged. That's a big haftacha. Can you imagine that? After 80 years, Moshe Rabbeinu is coming back to see Paro, who commanded that he should be put to death. He's going right into the lion's den. And I will say also that Yosef was in Egypt, in the place of the worst tumah in the world. Tumah shamar etzatzmei nizak, and he was careful not to get himself damaged. He didn't change his name and not his language. Therefore, God revealed himself in the burning bush, and they had merit. Even though there was fire in the burning bush, but it wasn't consumed. So also Moshe will not be damaged in Egypt. I'm taking the segula for the Zera Shimshon from Rabbi Nachman Seltzer's book for the second year, because there isn't one in the first year, so I hope you stick with me. While we're on the topic of firstborn sons, okay, I didn't read it, we're good. A good friend named Rabbi Simcha Ilowitz, who's not their real name, these are all substitute names, called me about his son Pinchas Yechezkel. Rabbi Binyamin Pashka is related to me. He had been diagnosed with a terrible illness, which he suffered for many years, causing him no end of pain and never quite going away. My friend's wife was, of course, constantly on the lookout for something to do for her son. And when she came across the segula of learning Zera Shimshon and the promise of the author, she told her son that she felt it was very important that he begin a seder in Zera Shimshon. Rabbi Chaim went on to relate that having heard many pieces of advice and countless ideas, many of which he had already tried through the years of hardship, Pinchas Yechezkel wasn't inclined to try yet another remedy, another segula. Mommy, I'm not interested, he says. Why not? She asked him, as only a mother can. I don't believe this whole segula business. After you try so many segulas, you get jaded. But many people have seen Yeshua's, she says. I've never heard that by learning a particular sefer, a person can be zeicher to brachas and Yeshua's. Okay? But people are learning the sefer and seeing miracles all over the world. She insisted. I'm sorry, Mommy, it's not for me. But, as everybody knows, a person can decide what he wants to do and not to do. But if Hashem wants the person to do something else, he'll make it happen. That's just the way it is. Okay, after Pinchas got off the phone with his mother, Pinny's father, Reb Simcha, received a call of his own. Reb Simcha, the caller, said, listen up, I'm listening. What can I do for you? You know that Chani and I have just had our first child after 5 years of marriage, right? Yes, and I'm thrilled for both of you. Great, because it would mean the world to us if you and Dvorah could come over tonight for the Vachnach. We're having a Suda with our close friends, and that means you. Of course, Pinchas Kanievski parents went to the Vachnach. When your presence means that much to a friend, how can you possibly refuse? The answer is you can't. The Suda was a beautiful affair. Every place was set with artistic flair and attention to detail, and the food was delicious and well presented. But all that paled into insignificance when compared to the glowing faces of the Baalei Simcha, who obviously hadn't fully digested the fact that they were the ones finally making a Simcha after so many years of waiting. In the middle of the Suda, the Baal Simcha rose to give a short speech. I want to begin by thanking all of you for coming this evening, he said. It means the world to us that you're all here. As everyone knows, tonight is the baby's Vachnach, and Klal Yisrael has a minhag of gathering together to learn and devote our time to lofty pursuits, which will give merit to the newborn baby for his future life. That said, I have another reason that I wanted to bring you all together here tonight. He paused before continuing his speech. A big part of me feels that the reason we are here tonight after so many years is due to the fact that I have been involved in helping to spread the Torah of Rabbi Chaim Kanievski, the author of the Zera Shimshon, Zecher Tzadik of Kodesh V'Rocha. Not only I have myself been learning from this chashuv sefer, but I have also paid for the distribution of the weekly newsletter on Zera Shimshon, which reaches Yidden in a wide variety of locations. This way, I was able to fulfill the Mechaber's request that as many people as possible should learn from this sefer. As my thanks to all of you for coming tonight, I want to give you a present. And the Baal Simcha began handing out copies of the beautiful sefer Zera Shimshon on Eishes Chayil to everyone at the Suda. He also gave out parts of another sefer that would soon be released, Zera Shimshon on Shir HaShirim, which was then in the middle of being edited. Reb Simcha and his wife couldn't get over what had just happened, Reb Binyamin concluded. Here, Pinchas Yechezkel's mother had just spent a half hour on the phone with her son that very day, doing her best to convince him to learn from the Zera Shimshon, and here their friend had literally handed them a copy of the Mechaber's Torah that very evening while recounting his own Zera Shimshon miracle at the same time. Reb Simcha had no choice. At that moment, he decided to begin learning from Zera Shimshon on a regular basis. That's the boy's father, okay? I doubt it will come to as a major surprise to you when I tell you that Pinchas Yechezkel called his parents 2 weeks later with the astounding news that the illness he had been suffering with for so long had simply disappeared. Surprise! It ain't no uko. All right, have a wonderful week, and we'll have mazel and glick from everybody. Kol tov, Zaygebench.